alleged to be very intolerant. You heard that Israel's comment.
Yes, I heard that.
So what do you have to say in defense of your people?
I think that there is an attempt right now to paint Obidients with a brush. This is a situation of give a dog a bad name and then hang it, to paint Obidients with a brush. And the truth is, this is a movement that comprises of Nigerians, right? Millions of Nigerians who demand better, who believe in the candidacy of Peter Obi, who know that, look, this man can deliver a better country for us based on his antecedents. So it's not that we just gather together to make noise. And you know, one of the most upsetting things is when people point these fingers at Obidients, they forget that during this campaign season, we have lost a ward woman leader in southern Kaduna. We have lost a House of Assembly candidate in Imo. We have lost a Senate candidate. We have come under attack. Peter Obi has been stoned, all sorts of things. Even today, Dr. Tape came out, you know, they accused him of declaring religious war. These are things that this candidate has gone through so much. There's something Peter Obi said, that I was a good man till I decided to run for president. That is when everybody decided. And that's the same thing here. Over and over again, Peter Obi has been that one candidate that has told his followers, I don't want you people to be violent. I don't want us to behave in this way. Even after the elections, when people were calling for nationwide protests, he said, no. We are going to test the integrity of the courts as we have tested the integrity of the electoral system. We are going to test the strength of this institution, and that is what we are doing. We're pushing for that. And, you know, a lot of young people, what the Obedient movement has done is to call for a political awakening, and that is what has happened. So the political class and other people who are used to benefiting from this rent-seeking system are not used to being questioned. I'm not used to the ordinary man on the street understanding the issues and questioning their every word. When they say 1 + 1 = 3, somebody will stand up to them and say, no, this is not the case. They are not used to it. And so when they are questioned like this, they start crying bullying and all of that. I mean, we saw what happened in Lagos. We saw the attacks that Obidients came under just to be able to vote. Somebody died in Edo State. Just these are the issues. So when you talk of violence in this campaign season, these are the things. And we have come under so many attacks. We have people who have lost lives.
We totally understand. Yes, unfortunately, some lives were lost in the process, and all of them still remain vivid in our memories. But at the end of the day, the accusation, not just from Dire Israel, but members of other political parties, is that Obidients sometimes can be unruly in terms of, you know, how they look at certain issues. For instance, Peter Obi has said no to protest and all of that, but we're still seeing some vile tweets using the social media space now. And what they're saying is, for the fact that there is already ongoing litigation, shouldn't that actually get everyone to just calm down and wait for the judiciary to do its due diligence? So what would be a reaction to that in terms of, why not, you know, Peter Obi? Some of them are requesting that he comes out now and say, Obedient, can we calm down with the rhetoric? But
I do think that we're very calm. I think that if you follow the social media conversation, it is people talking about the court cases. It is people talking about, look, this election was flawed. International observers have said the elections were flawed. Everybody has said, look, this is it. We need better elections. We need, Peter Obi has said, look, this system, this was flawed. The process was flawed. We are going to court to go and debate this. That is what we are talking about on social media. So again, I will point to, look, when people say unruly, I think and I believe that it is that they are not used to being questioned.
I need you to be very objective about this, because at the end of the day, if you are objective enough, you'll be getting a good opportunity in defense of your people, all right? Because it's not our words, and it's not even Dire Israel's words. The social media is replete with the actions and reactions of the Obidients, as they are called, and sometimes they don't even listen to their candidates. Why don't they listen to the candidates?
Did you see the build-up to the gubernatorial elections and the kind of attacks that people came under in the build-up to the gubernatorial elections? It's quite sad that that has happened, but we're not even having serious conversations around it. Those conversations led to attacks on people. Those are conversations that we should focus on. When you single out people and say, look, you don't belong in these places, if you come out and vote, these are the conversations, because these are the things that led to violence.
Right.
These were the things, not people joking when they attack your car. Somebody came and posted a picture and said, it's a lie, it's not your car. People were laughing about it. That did not lead to violence. These conversations have led, we have issues that have led to violence against us. And these are the conversations we should be having. It is the conversation
we're having. And we need to all look at it objectively here, because all of this bullying, we will not blame it only on the Obidients, because the truth is we have seen political parties and even their spokespeople go beyond.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like,
when a media person, right now who happens to be one of the spokespersons of the Obi Adati campaigns, how would you advise that would draw that line between, having to support your candidate and actually push out whatever you believe should have happened with the election and hate speech? That line there.
Number one, I want to correct this thing where it is, it's tagged that obedience are the
I
ones.
did say it's not synonymous to the obedience.
So it looks like,
we
it's
are
just
seeing that a
obedience.
lot in the politics
Unfortunately,
in the country right now.
Unfortunately, things are heated. The political space has become so heated. And it didn't start now. From the 2015 elections, it really got bad when people were reporting people to their bosses to fire them. And it has built up from there. So people, when they come into the political space, people are on the offensive and defensive because they do not want to be the ones on the receiving end of these things. But this is not an obedience situation that, it's just obedience that do this. Look, the truth about it is the people who have faced the most consequence for hate speech is obedience. We have been lynched, all sorts. We are burying people. Badebo Rose Vivo is still visiting people. Peter Obi had to visit people after the elections. So when we're talking about the consequences of these things, these are, and you know what? When you talk about us as media people, look, everybody that has been representative of the obedient movement has been quite sensible with their speech. But you have spokespersons, official spokespersons of other political parties being able to say really, really, really terrible things and get away with it. So terrible that we have a professor in Canada who has had to carry a case to ICC for what the spokesperson of the APC said. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about these things, look, anybody can wake up today and say obedience. You played the video of that person. Do you know that as of this evening, Obidients have gone and traced the real name of the person on the flight, where he used to work, where his wife works. She works at the TV station. All of that have brought that, please, police, take. Because when these accusations come now, they will say obedience. So obedience have brought the police, look, we have fed you with every information about this character that did this.
Are you saying he's not an obedient, the person who was screaming obedience in the plane?
No.
Are you saying he's not?
Obedience brought it out. No.
He's not.
That's the thing. Anybody can wake up and say, and like I said, we are facing, this is the kind of thing we're facing now.
So
that
make us understand that sometimes some people, in being objective now, sometimes some other people who are not obedient camouflage as obedient on social media to tarnish the image of the obedience. Is that what you're saying?
And when that happens, like with the case of today, obedience take their time, go and investigate, bring out the name of the person, because we do not want to be tainted like that. Even with the conversation of the Eze in Lagos, they have brought out this Eze is actually in Isolo. This man has actually shown support for the ruling party. So now, why are you painting him with obedient brush?
Well, the video that he released is clear as to
yes, but they have gone back to trace.
Right.
And so what I'm pointing out is, look, there is a concerted effort to paint situation right now when we are waiting for the court case. And look, literally, our leader has said this. We are going to court. All of us, we are facing court. Okay. We are hoping that it will be shown live on TV so that we follow that process. And right now, while we are trying to face that, we are seeing all sorts of things. Today, they'll say, this group of obedience, that group of obedience.
Well, according to Kato, she says the person who tried to hijack that Ibom Air flight is not an obedient. But
no, he's not.
Okay, so let's move